You mentioned that homeschool is something that people can heal through. I would love to hear your perspective as a mom, your personal journey of homeschooling, and like what it brought you. And then from a kid perspective as well, like, was there any healing that you allowed to happen through there? Like, how have your kids been able to be more of the people that they are because of and through homeschooling?
I went to public school and I'm an ADHD kid and very social. And then I would get my report card and it never said anything nice, but she can't stop moving. She can't stop talking. My grades were C's and I thought I'd nailed it, right? And it was just over and over and over again. And so by the time I graduated high school, I thought I was really dumb. I really did. Well, I went to college, but I didn't go into anything because I just assumed I was stupid because that's what I kind of learned from the system. Well, when I homeschooled and I'm sitting next to my children and I started pulling out books and working with them, I actually started in kindergarten. I didn't start as an adult. I was like, I'm just going to go all the way through. Who knows what I'm missing? And as I was going through with my first two, I got all the way through 12th grade and thought, oh, I'm smarter than I thought I was. I didn't know I could remember this or learn this. I had no idea my capacity. And I just kept going after that because I started realizing that what they had been teaching me was not true. And then watching my children struggle. I had one child who was dyslexic, but we didn't know it. And she was really, really struggling. And a teacher told me to read the book, The Dyslexic Advantage, which I recommend to every parent with a dyslexic child. And we read it together. I sat with her and I just read it out loud. And when we were done, she went from I'm dumb because my sister couldn't read and I can't, and everybody around me can read and I can't, to, oh my gosh, Mom, I'm brilliant. Look at, I can do this and I can do, and the book says that if I can do this, that makes, and because we'd read it together, when she came out of there, we both learned that there was nothing wrong with her. It was actually what was right with her. And that it's all about dive into your strengths, work on your weaknesses. And there is nothing wrong with that. And so as we grew together and learned together, and as each child came upon something that was hard to deal with, or I didn't know how to deal, I would research, we would pray, we would figure it out, and I would learn something new about myself because they were my kids. And so as we were working through this issue with this child, I realized they learned it from me. And so I think homeschooling as a mom is just like this huge magnifying mirror in your face, and you see all your flaws because the things that bug you the most about your kids, you gave them. And you start to see that and you start to go, oh, you're not doing that because I don't do that. Or you are doing that because I do that. And as you start to recognize that, I've been able to go, okay, I need to change that for this child's sake. I probably wouldn't have changed it for me. Here's an example. I kept a mirror down on the ground for my little kids to dance in front of and see themselves. I wanted them to have great self-esteem. And they spent a lot of time, my two daughters, in front of the mirror. But my son, when he was born, would crawl across the mirror and look and see his reflection and flinch and get away from the mirror as fast as he could. And I was heartbroken. I'm thinking, what is wrong with this child? Why will he not look? And so I started testing. I'd put him in front of the mirror and he would just go like this. And I couldn't figure out why. Well, one day I'm walking by the mirror at home and I looked at myself and I caught myself grimacing at my own reflection because I didn't like how I looked. I needed to lose weight. I didn't put makeup on, whatever. I hadn't taken care of myself that day. And I remember flinching. And I remember a little voice in my head saying, you're the one showing him what to do when he looks in a mirror. And I hadn't realized that. And so when I realized it, I started picking him up in the mirror and talking about how much I liked to see me, which I'll tell you was really hard for years. But I found myself starting to believe myself so that it built my own self-esteem. It built my own confidence. And I watched him slowly start to go to the mirrors, slowly start to look at himself again. And now he's a 20-year-old kid who's like, oh yeah. So he's fine. Those little things were just constantly molding me to be better. I needed to do it for them because I would do it for them.